So let's take a look at the inner compass technique in full. Now, if you can go to the additional resources, you will of course find this whole technique laid out in full, but you'll also find an audio recording where I will lead you through this entire process. I would like you to work to the stage where you can do this yourself. It is of course self-hypnosis, but I really do appreciate that certainly in the beginning, generally people like to have the memory prompts. So I have recorded this entire process and it will lead you through from start to finish. But please just use it as a guide rather than as me being your hypnotist. You want to see it as a self-hypnosis process. So how does this work? Well, first of all, I am going to assume that you've already done your ecology check. And I'm also going to assume that you know how to settle and you know how to go into trance. In fact, I would imagine you're becoming proficient at all of those things by this stage. I certainly hope so. So the first step is where you do your pre-work. Now this is of course what you did in the last exercise. You're looking to start off with a detailed description and you're then looking to pan the camera back and start to join the dots and link it with some greater level of meaning to link it to your unconscious whys. And then you're looking to finish the process by summarising the whole thing with a single word. Now if you're struggling with a single word, then that's okay, I will allow you to do 2 or 3. I strongly recommend just to explore it and see what works for you. But you want your target to be one single word just to simplify the entire process. And effectively what you've done is you've nested your goal, your outcome, all the intentions, and you've really packaged it into that single word. So that has tremendous power. So once you've done your pre-work, what you want to do is you want to write it down on a piece of paper, like I have done here just now. I'm going to lead you through a very specific example that I use this for too. So once you've done this, you then move on, of course, to your settling process, and then you start to induce trance. Now, I'm going to encourage, or I'm going to recommend that you use the fixation of attention trance induction method. And what I'd like you to do is very simply take the piece of paper and hold it in your hand. And I want you just to stare at the words, stare at the piece of paper, and use that as your trance induction. So this, of course, will be a fixation of attention induction. So you simply just want to stare and focus your entire attention on that piece of paper and on that word. My word is live, by the way. And that will be your trance induction. So you settle and then you do the trance induction, take some time to get yourself into that really nice place of trance. Then once you've done that, you then move on to the third step and you simply just explore the change. So you want to still keep your eyes open at this stage and you want to start to reflect on everything that word means to you in relation to this goal. So as you look at that word, it can then start to allow things just to present themselves. It can allow images just to present themselves. Perhaps it can even guide you into certain feelings. Just simply go with the process. Don't necessarily try to force it. As I've said many times already, you want to simply allow yourself to explore it. And because you've done the pre-work, that words will be tremendously semantically packed. There's lots of stuff within that. There's intentions and there's also that specific goal. So simply just allow yourself to explore. Appreciate that there's no necessarily any right or wrong here. Just allow yourself to be guided through the process. Now, when you're doing this, you can of course close your eyes, but if you feel like you need a reminder for this word and this particular goal and everything that's nested within, then you can open your eyes and look at the words. Personally, I prefer to almost like kind of drift in between. So I'll start off with my eyes open and then I'll close my eyes, but then I'll open my eyes every now and again. That's absolutely fine if you want to do that. In fact, for me, that tends to work better. Now, also what I'd like you to do here is just every now and again, just ask yourself a question. And the question is this: what would it be like if I had more of this? What would it be like if I had more of this? If you like, you can even actually write down the question underneath your words, just to remind yourself so you don't have to think through it while you're in trance, because that could actually bring you out of that nice creative place. So simply just allow that suggestion, that question, that idea, just to repeat itself, almost like a mantra. Every now and again, you don't have to do it lots. What would it be like if I had more of that, or I had more of this, if you like. And like I said, you can write it down on your piece of paper. Then once you have had a chance to explore this in full, you can do this for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You can even just do this for 5 minutes. It's really up to you. You then want to move on to the final stage, which is of course the integration phase. Now, this is where I do a really cool and interesting thing. What you want to do is you want to take your piece of paper, and obviously you're sitting like this or standing like this, looking at your piece of paper, and then you want to simply just allow your hand and your arm to move towards a part of your body while you hold that piece of paper, while you remain connected with that word and everything it means to you. And as that word, as that piece of paper moves towards a certain part of your body, you can feel these changes start to become more and more powerful and more profound. You can connect with them at an even deeper level. And you want to just simply allow your unconscious to choose which part of your body that this piece of paper and this word eventually touches. So for some people, they'll choose their head. So they'll look rather silly, but hey, that's just part of the process. For other people, they'll move towards their hearts, because our goals, our intentions, our dreams, perhaps they feel something really quite profound within our hearts. Other people go into the stomach, and some people different places, but usually it's stomach, heart, or head. Sometimes I've seen the neck as well. In fact, I've seen a few things. Some people also put it in their arm for some reason. Whatever feels right for you. The key thing is not necessarily to analyse this, but just to simply go by your feelings. Just have a sense of what feels right for you. Now, when you are allowing the piece of paper to come towards a particular area of your body, you can simply just allow it to happen unconsciously, almost like you're not really doing it. Or you can inject a little bit of conscious effort just to get it moving. That's absolutely fine. So you can just start the process a little bit and then allow it to flow in whichever direction you feel is right for you. And when that piece of paper, when that word eventually touches that particular part of your body, you can suddenly feel a deep connection to that particular thing and everything it means to you. Now, often what people say, the feedback that they give of this, is when the word eventually touches their body, it's almost like they get a huge jolt of this particular change fully integrating into their body. Generally for me, it's almost like the idea just becomes embodied. It's like it just starts to seep into every single molecule and muscle and cell of my entire being. And I can even visualize that. It's like it goes into my bloodstream and all kinds of really cool things. And it feels incredible too. So this is a really interesting process. I absolutely love it. I certainly hope it's clear. If you're struggling with any details, please feel free to post a question on the forum or send me a private message. I'd be happy to help with the entire process. So that's pretty much it laid out in full. Just to give you another quick example of how I have personally used the inner compass technique. I've used it for lots of things, but this is a specific example. One of the things that I have taken up recently is golf. I absolutely love the sport. I'm rapidly becoming addicted to it. It's fantastic. I live in Scotland, and Scotland has some of the most beautiful golf courses in the world. Fantastic. If we had the weather, then, we might actually be good at the sport for a change. Anyway, so for me, one of the outcomes I currently have is to get down to being a single figure handicap golfer. I'm not too far away. I'm sitting at 12 just now. So that would be my specific outcome. Then if I was to ask the question, okay, so what would that give me emotionally? What greater purpose does this belong to? So I'm chunking up, or I'm panning the camera back and starting to link it to these much more powerful and meaningful intentions. So for me, when I reflect on that question, the words that come back are satisfaction and successful. Now that might not mean anything to you, but it certainly does mean something to me. And if I then look at those words and ask, okay, what did those belong to that's even greater? What will those give me in order to do what? The words that come back are, it would give life meaning. So if I was to become a single figure handicapper, I would feel satisfaction and successful, and this satisfaction and successful would then lead to me living a life of meaning. And if I was to look at all of that and then summarise it in a single word, it would be live, or to live. We'll go for just one word, just for argument's sake. So that's the word that I would put down on the piece of paper as I demonstrated before. So when I'm going through this whole trance experience, then I'm focusing on that word, but that word has so much else packed within it. It's got satisfaction and successful, it's got giving a life of meaning, and it's ultimately got this specific goal of becoming a single figures handicap. So the whole thing is linked together with the unconscious whys, tremendously powerful. So what I'd like you to do is, like I said, if you can go to the additional resources, you can download the audio recording and take yourself through the process. There's also a PDF handout that outlines this entire process in full. Enjoy this, it's absolutely fantastic. Pick a goal, go for it, and I'll see you in the next video for a debrief.